Hey, what if I told you that some of America's most iconic brands are crashing and burning in Canada? Not because of price wars or fierce competition, but because Canadians are simply done with them. Yeah, from the ketchup on their kitchen tables to those familiar Big Macs they once craved, the shift is absolutely real and undeniable. These aren't just minor market fluctuations, this is a fundamental change in consumer behavior that's reshaping entire industries. So, before you grab that next fast food burger or reach for that familiar bottle of ketchup, you might want to stick around. Hit that like button, subscribe to stay updated, and let's dive deep into the surprising collapse of 5 massive U.S. brands in Canada. Because trust me, this one's wild and way more complex than you might think. Remember when Walmart was the undisputed place to shop for everything from weekly groceries to the latest gadgets? When those blue and yellow signs represented convenience and savings for millions? Well, in Canada, that era might be coming to a definitive end. Quietly but steadily, Canadians are walking away from Walmart in unprecedented numbers, not with loud protests or organized boycotts, but with something far more powerful, complete silence and indifference. The evidence is stark empty parking lots where cars once filled every space, closed stores in major cities like Calgary and St. John, and quarterly reports showing declining foot traffic. But here's what's surprising. It's not about prices, which have always been Walmart's strongest selling point. It's about something deeper: pride, community connection, and cultural identity. Many Canadians feel like Walmart represents a larger American corporate takeover of their local communities, and they're simply not here for it anymore. Instead, people are deliberately choosing local chains like Loblaws, Metro, or Soys, where the cashier knows your name and the money spent stays within the local economy. Walmart's famous low prices always slogan just doesn't cut it anymore when people are asking bigger questions about fair wages, ethical business practices, and corporate responsibility to local communities. This isn't just a business move, it's a cultural wake-up call. Walmart didn't just lose customers and market share, it lost something far more valuable: genuine human connection and community trust. Raise your hand if your first job, your first awkward date, or your first happy meal came from McDonald's, creating memories that shaped your childhood. Yeah, most of us share those golden memories, but that warm nostalgia is starting to fade, especially across Canada, where cultural shifts are happening faster than brands can adapt. The numbers tell a stark story. Overall sales are down by over 12% nationwide, and in Quebec specifically, it's a staggering 19% decline. Generation Z Canadians are walking away from the golden arches in droves, not in visible anger but in something scarier for a global brand: complete indifference. They're not boycotting, they're just not caring, and that's infinitely more dangerous for long-term brand survival. It's no longer simply about fast and cheap convenience. Today's consumers want transparency about where the meat comes from, what chemicals are in their food, whether workers are paid fairly, and whether the company cares about anything beyond maximizing profits. Those powerful childhood memories that once made McDonald's feel special aren't sticking with younger generations who have fundamentally different values. And in major urban centers like Toronto and Montreal, parents who once loved McDonald's are now saying something terrifying. I used to love this place, but I wouldn't feed this food to my own child. Now that hits deep and cuts right to the heart of generational change. Maybe it's time for McDonald's to trade their increasing automation for genuine authenticity before those iconic golden arches fade into irrelevant history. Kraft Heinz used to completely own the dinner table across North America, dominating family meals with products that seemed as permanent as the furniture itself. Who among us didn't have a bright blue box of Kraft dinner, or a familiar glass bottle of Heinz ketchup permanently stationed in the family fridge? But now, Canadian families are quietly but deliberately swapping them out for organic, locally sourced alternatives that align better with their evolving values. Sales have dropped over 6% and continue declining. And here's the crucial point: it's not because of inflation or economic pressures. It's about something fundamental: trust, or more accurately, the complete erosion of it. Ever since Kraft Heinz shut down multiple factories in Canada and moved production to lower-cost facilities in the United States and Mexico, many Canadian families felt genuinely betrayed by a brand they had trusted for generations. It's no longer just about ketchup or mac and cheese. It's about jobs for their neighbors, national pride, and core values about how companies should treat communities. Older generations who used to swear by Kraft products are now being nudged by their health-conscious children to actually read the ingredient labels. And guess what they're discovering? They're not liking what they see. artificial preservatives, high sodium content, and corporate practices that seem disconnected from Canadian values. For many families, these products are no longer seen as real food. They're just another faceless, mass-produced product competing with alternatives that offer better ingredients and stronger community connections. When a brand loses its sacred place in the family meal, it loses something way more valuable than revenue. It loses its legacy and cultural relevance. Remember those cold winter days when you'd hear the satisfying pop of a Campbell's soup can being opened? That distinctive sound that meant warmth was coming. That simple sound used to mean something profound. A promise of a warm meal, a little comfort, a genuine taste of home that connected you to family traditions. But across Canada, that familiar sound is gradually disappearing from kitchens, and with it, decades of brand loyalty. Sales are down 8% and continuing to slide, while precious shelf space in grocery stores shrinks as retailers allocate more room to competitors. And it's not because people hate soup or no longer want warm meals during Canada's long winters. It's because they've discovered better soup options, local, organic, preservative-free brands that taste more like authentic grandma's cooking and less like artificial factory flavoring. Small Canadian companies are producing soups with recognizable ingredients, transparent sourcing, and flavors that reflect regional preferences. Canadians are quietly turning away from Campbell's because the brand no longer reflects the values they care about. Transparency in ingredients, genuine health benefits, environmental sustainability, and food quality that justifies the price. And perhaps the saddest part? No one's protesting or writing angry letters. They're just moving on, finding better alternatives, and gradually forgetting why they ever bought Campbell's. Campbell's didn't just lose market share, they lost relevance in people's daily lives. And that kind of cultural disconnection is way harder to fix than any traditional business challenge. Here's what makes this story significant. It's not just about individual corporate struggles. This profound shift happening across Canada represents something deeper and more transformative than simple market competition. It's about people actively choosing values over convenience, deliberately choosing local community support over global corporate efficiency, and consciously choosing authentic human connection over slick corporate branding. And it's happening quietly, organically, without central organization or media fanfare. These aren't loud boycotts that make headlines, they're soft rejections, gradual shifts reflecting deeper changes in consciousness and values. A new generation of consumers, especially prominent in Canada, is asking fundamentally different questions. Where was this product made and under what conditions? Who benefits when I buy this? Does this brand actually care about me or just see me as profit to be maximized? Those seemingly simple questions are incredibly powerful because they strike at the heart of consumer-corporate relationships. Once people stop feeling emotionally connected to a brand, once that psychological bond is broken, it's almost impossible to win them back through traditional marketing or price cuts. The damage goes deeper than business metrics can measure. For American companies that have long taken international markets for granted, this should serve as a massive wake-up call. Canada used to be the easiest international market, culturally similar, economically stable, and reliably loyal to American brands. But if even Canadians can walk away from iconic American brands without looking back, then the question becomes urgent. Who's next? And what does this mean for the future of global American corporate influence? So now, I want to hear from you. Are you seeing these same patterns where you live? Are you still genuinely loyal to these traditional brands? Or have you quietly made the switch to alternatives too? What factors influenced your decisions, and how do you think about brand loyalty differently than previous generations? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one and love hearing different perspectives. And if this video made you think differently about brands and consumer behavior, smash that like button to help spread awareness. Subscribe for more deep dives into stories that matter, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss content that goes beyond surface-level news. Because behind every product on every shelf there's a complex human story of values and cultural change, and this particular story is far from over.